Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, I will introduce myself. My name is Friesca Sherly Agustine, and I'm English education student, 2016 English Department Teachers Training and Education Faculty Pekalongan University. And then I will presentation about this paper for the about this PowerPoint for the requirement of my final project. For my final project is under the title An Analysis of the Students' Difficulties in Writing Descriptive Text. And then this paper consists of abstract, introduction, methodology, finding, and discussion, and the rest is conclusion. The first is abstract. Learning English is important to be learned not only for being the international language, but today English has become a language that is every place, and it has become a must for everyone to be able to understand the English to make people easier in the activity. And the title of this paper is an analysis of the students' difficulties in writing descriptive text. And then I did the research at vocational high school. This research focused on the students' difficulties in organizing and developing ideas. They were not able to develop ideas on the text they wrote, whereas in terms of grammar, there was a significant difficulty. They can write descriptive text by using the correct grammar. In terms vocabulary, it was difficult for students to choose appropriate vocabulary. Even some of them still use Google Translate, and to determine students' difficulties writing descriptive text, there are still many factors causing the difficulties. And this research led to investigate the mistake the students experience when learning grammar. And in the writing descriptive text, and to find out the generic structure in the descriptive text which are written by the first grade students of SMK Muhammadiyah Doro in academic year 2019 and 2020. The descriptive qualitative method was applied in this research, and I used text analysis or test, observation, and questionnaire. The components of writing data analysis are developing the ideas, organizing of ideas, grammar, and vocabulary. There were 12 participants of the first grade students of SMK Muhammadiyah Doro in academic year 2019 and 2020 are as the sample in this research. And then the result is suggest for teachers to pay attention to the teaching structure of descriptive text. In the development of ideas, arrangement of ideas, grammar, and vocabulary, teachers are also expected to provide example and practice about the descriptive text to the students so they can achieve the purpose of education, especially in English subject. And then this is keyword is the first is students' difficulties. The second is the factor causing the difficulties, and the last is writing ability. And then the next is introduction. Language is an important aspect in our daily life because it enables us to communicate. Language is very important to human beings. People use it to communicate with one another, to express their feelings, to give and accept the information, to solve problems, and then etc. And language is the process or set of processes used to ensure There is an agreement between the sender and receiver for meanings assigned to the symbol and the schema for combining them used for each communication. And then the study English, we had to see what kind of skill English had for skills they were studied and master. If we want to know English well, there are speaking, listening, reading, and writing. And then one of language skill that is important to learn is writing, because by writing people can express his or her ideas in writing forms. This skill should be taught to the students in SMK Muhammadiyah Doro. It is stated that the students are expected to be able to communicate in English either written or spoken forms. It means that their skills should be interacted and supported one another. And then this, according to Harmer, writing is a basic language skill as important as speaking, listening, and reading. Students need to know how to write letters, how to put written reports together, how to reply advertisement, and increasingly how to write using electronic media. Yeah. And then, according to Wright, the writer of description create a word picture of person, place, object, and emotion using a careful selection of detail to make an impression on the readers. In other words, descriptive text was derived from the word describe. And then descriptive text has the three structure, which were description, identification, and conclusion. Descriptive text is very important to improve students' writing skill, especially in writing skill. And then by writing descriptive text, the students are able to describe something by describing an idol. In writing descriptive text is very effective for the students. They can create their sentence by looking or imagining their idols. And the next is methodology. I use descriptive qualitative as the method of the research. Use observation, interview, and test for collected data. And then descriptive research in and of itself, however, is not very specifying, since most research want to have a more complete understanding of people and things. And then descriptive research is suitable for a research type of data. It is research which the writer must describe the result of data in this research. In this research, the word and action are analyzed in such a way. For example, of descriptive studies in education include identifying the achievement of various groups of students, describe the behavior of teacher, administrator, of or uh, counselors, or describing the attitudes of parents, and describing the physical capabilities of school. And then qualitative research go directly to the particular setting in which they are interested to observe and collect their data, and they spread a considerable amount of time actually being in a school, sitting on faculty meetings, attending parent-teacher social meeting, observing teacher in their classroom and in other locations. And in general, they likely observing and interviewing individuals as they about their daily routines. And then, uh, based on the purpose in this paper, the study used descriptive qualitative method. It is called descriptive qualitative because the study about describe to analyze of difficulties the students in writing descriptive text. This called the descriptive qualitative because the steps of the method are collecting the data, making an analysis, and drawing the conclusion. And therefore, the researcher will use descriptive research with qualitative descriptive approach. Since the method will be collecting the data, analyzing the data, and drawing the conclusion based on the data. And the next is finding and discussion. The first data is obtained from the result of the observation researcher to know our condition of students, teacher, class, school, teaching, and learning. The second data is obtained from the result of the test given to the students is about the difficulties faced in writing descriptive text. The last data is obtained from the result of the questionnaire distributed to the students is about the factor causing the students difficulties in writing descriptive text and the function of this method to know the applying of the writing skill difficulties of descriptive text. And the next method is test. I want to know the difficulties of the students in writing descriptive text from the grammar and also determine the generic structure of the text. And the last method is questionnaire. I want to know the advantage and the disadvantage from the first grade students Teknik Budi Otomotif or TBO of SMK Muhammadiyah Dolo, especially in learning English language and in writing descriptive text. And the next is students' difficulties in writing descriptive text. The scoring, the first is organization, content, grammar, mechanic, vocabulary. And then this is table students' difficulties. The first is content. Yes, the students is 12 students, and then the content is 8, organizing 9, grammar 10, vocabulary 9, mechanics 7. The table showed the highest percentage is 3% of students have difficulty in grammar, and the second percent are 75% of students have difficulty in organizing, and 75% of students have difficulty in vocabulary, and the third percent is 63% of students have difficulty in content, and the last percent is 58% of students have difficulty in mechanic. The next is a factor of causing the students difficulties. I referred the factor of causing the students difficulties in writing descriptive text gained from the result questionnaire, which consists of 17 items. If they give answer seldom or never, then the research concludes that the question of questionnaires the cause of the difficulties faced by students, and if they respond always or usually, it is not the cause of the difficulties faced by the students. The result of the data is classified into 3 variable factors, which contain some subvariable factors, and they are about learners' background, teaching technique, and the learner's environment below the detailed explanation of those 3 points. And the next is conclusion. The first is the first grade difficulties in writing descriptive text. The first grade difficulties in writing descriptive text based on the 5 writing aspects was classified as high. And the second is the causes of the first grade difficulty in writing descriptive text. The factor as causes the first graders difficulty in writing descriptive text. They concern with learners' background, teachers' technique, and learners' environment. And then, thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.